Hey everyone, this is Jacob Recht, and on behalf of Terry Hutchins Advanced Sports Writing class, today we will be discussing the Indiana Hoosiers' first game of their 2016-2017 season. So we saw the Hoosiers go up against the Kansas Jayhawks. The Jayhawks were the third-ranked team in the country, up against Indiana, number 11, and in the Armed Forces Classic in Honolulu, the Hoosiers won in overtime 103-99. And I think that based off of this game, it's indicative of what the Hoosiers are capable of doing down the stretch for the rest of the season. I think, based off what I saw, that the Hoosiers are capable of winning the Big Ten regular season title. I would love to see them win the Big Ten championship tournament. They haven't done so in a long time, so it'd be great to see them. That'd be a huge confidence booster going into the NCAA tournament, where I believe they can make a deep run. Sure, they faced off against Kentucky last year, and they beat Kentucky, and then they lost to North Carolina in the Sweet 16, but I think they can make it even farther this year. I think they're a much more solid team this year all around. I think that the ceiling is a national championship, and I believe the floor should be at least an Elite Eight or even a Final Four appearance. That's how high of expectations I think this Hoosier team has, based off of everyone's interests and based off of everyone's thoughts after that first game. So going into this first game, people were wondering who is going to be the new leader of this team. Obviously, Yogi Ferrell departed after last season. He's now in the NBA. And people were wondering, is it going to be sophomore stars OG Anunoby or Thomas Bryant? Or could it be James Blackman Jr., even though he missed half of the season last year due to injury? And after the game ended, Friday night, it was pretty clear that James Blackman Jr. was ready to take over as this team's leading scorer. He was ready to lead that backcourt for the Hoosiers. Blackman had 26 points, 22 of which came in the second half and overtime combined, and he hit a couple of clutch three-pointers in overtime and towards the end of the second half, and a handful of very clutch free throws to help the Hoosiers win. And in that overtime period, the Hoosiers were without fellow guard Robert Johnson and obviously star center Thomas Bryant. So I really think that speaks a lot of volume to what James Blackman is capable of in terms of his leadership. Obviously, without his fellow backcourt partner Robert Johnson, and without Indiana's arguably their best player, maybe not their leader because Blackman could take that role, but arguably their best player in Thomas Bryant, the Hoosiers were without two of their best players, and James Blackman Jr. was still able to lead the Hoosiers in overtime. The Hoosiers never trailed in that overtime period, thanks in due part to Blackman's clutch performance. A couple of red flags that the Hoosiers, I think, need to work on is, one, their free throw shooting. They were 26 of 36 from the line, just not what you want to see. 72%, definitely not what you want to see from the 11th ranked team in the country. They definitely need to improve on that. They had a couple of opportunities to put the game away, and they just couldn't do it. They had a couple of 5-point leads within the last 3 minutes of regulation, and they easily could have put the game away. However, their struggle from the line prevented them from doing that, and they eventually sent the game into overtime. Another thing was just giving the fouls. You saw in those final minutes, the Hoosiers making some pretty dumb fouls as players drove to the lane to the hoop. It added to the fact that the Hoosiers easily could have put away this game without having to go to overtime, except they just kept giving fouls and giving the Jayhawks opportunities to come back and win. Despite those two setbacks, I think the Hoosiers are in a great place to make a deep run in the NCAA tournament come this March and have a pretty easy regular season. Of course, they have number 6 North Carolina coming up at the end of the month. So it'll be interesting to see how the Hoosiers are able to play against two such great teams so early in the season. That's all the time we have today. I'm Jacob Reck. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll see you soon.